right, and with that, everybody get hype. We have Kirby Star Allies with LaurieDBunnykins. Take it away. Good luck and have fun.
Alright. Hello. Welcome to Kirby Star Allies. This title screen has a lot of modes on it, so I want to take a second to talk about the mode I'm going to be playing today. Guest Star is a mode where you're allowed to play as basically any enemy in the game. So you can't, like Kirby, take different powers. You're stuck with one for your whole playthrough. And at the bottom here, we have a special list of characters called Dream Friends. And this game has an ultimate reward, which is getting the game's main antagonist as Dream Friends. These are the most broken characters in the game. I'm going to be playing through the game as them. Are we all ready to start? Should I take that as a yes? Okay. I am going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. So, for those that have opinions on this game, if your favorite of the 3 Mage Sisters is Zan Partizan, you're in luck, because she's the fastest for movement in the whole game. Her directional dodge move allows her to do this electric zipping that you see here, and it is not only the fastest movement that these characters have, but between every character, it is the fastest thing in the game. So she's going to be the most seen character. You also saw Flamberge, who has fire, for a little bit there, because I needed to burn some ice blocks down. She's unfortunately going to be the least used of the 3, even though she's my favorite, because even Francisca, the sister who has a bunch of ice magic, has some uses throughout parts of this run. She really just burns ice and acts as a buffer in the tag team between Francisca and Zan whenever you need to switch between the two. So, one of this game's major mechanics is that you can build up a team of enemies to act as your friends. And the team that I'm building up in the beginning of this run is a very specific one, and the main thing that it comes to is that Dribbly, the water enemy, I need to have at the back of the party. So you can see on the way right, the bottom right, the 4th member of the party is Dribbly. That's going to be good for a kind of skip in a little bit. So I'm going to keep moving through here. The way that Guest Star works is kind of an arcade mode where there's not like a lot of level by level basis things. There's like checkpoints throughout the game. However, it just acts as kind of one straight shot through a kind of highlight reel of the game's main story levels, if you will. So there's going to be a lot of just moving and loading screen and then moving. There are still special cool stuff from the story mode, like these little friend abilities where you get to make a special transformation, like the friend train. Unfortunately, the friend train and all the transformations that appear in this run are just auto-scrollers, for the most part. This one you can save a little bit of time by jumping up slopes, but other than that, it's really just good time for a donation.
Alright, sounds good. We have... trying to see if there's any Puyo ones really quickly, because I like Puyo. But yeah, anyways, we have $25 from Specialty, who says, "Summer's almost here. Let us work together now by staying apart." A haiku: "Isolation is difficult, but let's do our best to defeat coronavirus. I'll leave the incentive to the runner if that is a choice." Also, we have a donation from Bernard14, who says, "Thanks for doing this. Y'all are great." We have a $100 donation from Anonymous. And we have a $300 donation without a comment from Alex the Ordinary. Thank you very much for your donation.
Alright, so a few things to go in there. At the end of that train section, you saw I collected an upgrade. This mode has 3 major upgrades that you can collect: attack upgrades, defense upgrades, and speed upgrades. Defense mainly just adds your max HP, and is inherently the least useful of the 3 compared to attacking speed, which up your damage and up your speed. So they're very good to have. The main reason I wanted that set of enemies, though, is because as you saw at the end of the train section, I bonked into the ceiling, and then one of the Dribblies fell into the defense heart, that cut off the rest of the animation that usually plays when you fall out of the train section. And then I tossed all my friends before fighting Wispy Woods, the first boss of the run, and reaching our first checkpoint. The AI in this game, despite it being a major mechanic, is pretty bad. So I tossed out all my friends there because as a difficulty balancer, when you have a bunch of friends, the game will up the amount of HP that a boss has. You know, so like there's more challenge if you fight boss with friends, or you don't trivialize bosses by bringing a full group into the battle. The AI is so bad that it's better to go into bosses solo, just because the amount of health added by the bosses will just make them longer due to how poorly the AI will perform during boss fights. They don't do enough damage to cover the amount of health added to each boss, so it happens a lot that I'm going to be just getting rid of friends immediately, like you see right there as well. We do have our first major boss coming up soon. Wispy Woods was kind of a minor boss that I dealt with quickly while talking about some other stuff. So I'll just talk about some general combat stuff. I go to King Dedede, who's going to be coming up right after this screen here. You saw there Francisca's use as a enemy kind of wave clearer. There are going to be a lot of those fight arenas like that where we have a bunch of enemies in like the same screen, and freezing an enemy counts as an instant kill, and Francisca's giant projectiles can freeze a bunch of enemies, so they're the best way to get through enemies like that. Otherwise, for this boss fight against King Dedede, you saw the sister circle there, a charge-up attack. You do need to kill enemies in order to get power for that charge, but it is a very good screen clearing move, and it pauses the in-game timer, which is something to keep in mind. The timer, or the leaderboards for this game, rather go by the game's in-game timer. You can see the in-game timer for each level in the top left, so you see mine's at like 340 right now. There's many strategies in this game that benefit the in-game timer more than the real timer. However, because I need to keep track of the difference between real time and in-game time like that, I won't go overestimate by 10 minutes. It'll be fine. But that's the end of the first boss, Dedede. And going back to boss fight strategies, not only does Zan Partisan have the fastest movement speed in the game, that attack I was using where you summon the lightning clouds from above you has the best damage in the whole game. Damage per second wise, it is the best move in the game, so you see it on a lot of big enemies. It's still better to use Francisca for enemy waves where enemies can die immediately, but considering you can't insta-kill bosses and you do need to actually whittle their health bar down, that's the best alternative, is to just spam that. There are a few other moves that you can see, like you saw the laser move that I used. That'll be used a few other times in the run because it has incredible range, but we'll get to that. I'm going to make another friend here, a Broom Hatter. Coming up on the end of this screen, there's going to be a door that I need at least 2 people, including myself, to open. So I need to make a friend in order to do this level, because this next room is going to require 2 people. Broom Hatter is preferred because depending on how you move through the screen, as you're going to see, the Broom Hatter will like move a specific way and do specific attacks in order to get through the screen. I kind of messed up. I fell through the platform when I wanted to do a sister circle to hit a button from the friend side. But even without that, you can see how Broom Hatter doesn't really take time killing enemies and instead just opts to fly over them. Some of the older strats for that room involve getting like a sword enemy, and the sword enemy just likes to take their time killing everything. It'll slowly jump up the stairs, then kill it in midair, which will recoil him backwards, and then he has to slowly jump up the stairs again. It's not good. Fortunately, the Broom Hatter is really easy to get because we got it from a copy essence, meaning we didn't even have to like mess with an enemy cycle. We just had to hit a still target, and it is very fast in that room. The rest of this room isn't too interesting until the next checkpoint, so another donation or 2 works.
All right, sounds good. And fantastic commentary so far, Laurie. I've been enjoying this. We have $10 from Anonymous, who says, Kirby Star Allies was my daughter's first video game, and she still loves it. $50 from David ITKI, who says, hey, Laurie, good luck on the run. I just have one question. Where's your invisibility cheat code?
You see, I didn't get pranked, so... Yeah, that goes back to the stories I was told during David's King Knight run. But... I mean, this character moves so fast they could basically be invisible.
Do we have time for one more, Laurie?
Sure. I'm just gonna be using some, like, camera cues here to know when to go from the top of the screen to the bottom, so go ahead.
We have $18 from Dance Dad, who says, Dance Dad hopes everyone's staying safe. Keep on grooving all. Hiya.
This game has some good tunes to groove to.
I'm interested to hear a little bit more about that story you were saying earlier, when it came to that past donation, Laurie. Do you have anything to elaborate on that?
My capture card is bugging out. That's something. But while I look at that, I can try and elaborate. Basically, the commentator of the King of Cards run, I once tricked them into using a cheat code that makes the character invisible during a marathon. Also, the capture card, again, is really bugging out, so I'm going to try and restart it quickly. Hopefully it won't go too badly. It is going badly. Okay, it is small. Why is it small? Okay. I'm gonna hope that doesn't happen again. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna use another sister circle here, because it is much quicker than anything else I can do. And immediately after this, we have an enemy, like, gauntlet. We have 3 waves of enemies we have to take care of, and sister circles charge by you fighting enemies. So we're gonna get another one fairly quickly that we're gonna be able to use on the next boss. Right here. So I'm gonna switch to Francisca and get some projectiles ready. These projectiles are kind of really just unmatched in how crazy they are. They make me feel bad for bitrate, but they bounce everywhere, they're huge, and they can insta-freeze just about anything. And again, freezing, if an enemy gets frozen and turned into an ice block, that's just instant death, basically. So, it's a win. It really does paint the picture that these are the most overpowered characters in the game. And, like, the way that they unlock is really silly, because you first have to unlock this mode by beating the main game. You have to beat it once to be able to play as Dream Friends in this mode. Then you need to, there was like a DLC mode released in November of 2018. This game came out in March of 2018. And you have to beat that mode with a good enough rank to unlock these characters as Dream Friends. And even if you do that, you can't even play as them unless you beat this mode to get them as playable characters. So there's a lot that goes into getting to this difficulty, and even when you're overpowered like this, the game does balance it. If you haven't been able to tell yet, I'm getting a bunch of EX bosses. So this is parallel Meta Knight. They're not called EX bosses, but parallel bosses are harder versions of all the previous bosses. And speaking of hard and bosses, Meta Knight is not a hard boss, but is a dumb boss. He, as you might have been able to tell during that first phase, can do whatever he wants, and one of the things that he chooses to do sometimes is guard, where he holds his sword in front of him, and he can't take damage at all. It's very annoying because you'll be trying to deal damage on him, and then he'll just decide that he doesn't want to take damage, and you'll just waste it. Despite that, though, that wasn't too bad of a level 2, and a boss fight in general. Kind of unlucky, but I got the kill quickly in the second phase, and that's the end of level 2. So, coming into level 3, I mentioned earlier this is an arcade-type mode, and I didn't really explain what that entails, so I'm going to take a second to go into this level and where we are in the story. The first level took place kind of in, like, Green Greens in that basic area, in Dreamland, and then in the second level we went to all throughout Popstar, which is why we saw all those different level themes. Here is the part of the game where the Mage Sisters would usually appear as villains for the first time, and try and take over Popstar. So this is like the part of the game where we're kind of going onto their ship to stop them. Every other character you play as in this mode, you will end up fighting the Mage Sisters as bosses, but that would be kind of silly to do, playing as the Mage Sisters. So we're not going to have any of those appear. So we're going to do a lot of screens that like build up to a big boss fight, and we get absolutely nothing for it. It's kind of silly, but it does make for good just movement, because the movement is a big part of this category. This fast movement, if you haven't been able to tell throughout the first 2 levels I've done, is not very controllable. Well, it is controllable, but it's very easy to slip up and just kind of start going all over the place. Usually if you just hold the dash button, or the dodge button rather, you can only do like 3 of the electric dashes at the time. So to be able to chain more than 3 electric dashes together, what I'm doing is basically constantly alternating between ZL and ZR on my controller. So, a lot of fast moving. Fortunately, it doesn't hurt the hands too much. And we get to the boss fight against Khan and Khan. So this is going to look funny. They're going to survive with just a sliver of health. This isn't because of how much damage this actually does, but every boss in this game essentially has 2 parts to it, where in between the fight, they'll, you know, go through a phase transition and something will change about the fight. That needs to happen regardless of if you one-shot the boss. So I technically one-shot the boss there, however, since the game detected the phase transition didn't happen, they set the boss to 1 HP, let them go through their phase transition, and then the second that it ended, I was able to kill them. It's just kind of crazy how much damage this character can do. And I'm getting caught on a corner. Alright, there we go. We're about to reach the checkpoint part of level 3. Just in case you don't want to play this game in this mode rather in one sitting, there are checkpoints as well as the ends of levels. So the end of level and the checkpoint acts as a place where you can load where you're last playing. So like, here's a checkpoint. So if I wanted to, I could quit the game here and come back tomorrow and play from this point right here. This kind of leads to something kind of interesting, especially when this game goes by in-game time, about how easy it can be to like do a run that's segmented. Which is why having videos of these runs is actually pretty important, despite the leaderboard not requiring it for every placement. The leaderboard for this category in general also isn't character-specific, like the run I'm doing. The leaderboard shares just about every character, so it's pretty inclusive. You don't need to have a Switch capture card to run this game and have your time verified, even though it can be kind of funny. There is a tell. There's a strategy in segmented runs of this game that do that with the in-game timer to try and get basically a perfect run, where if you intentionally die a lot in this mode, every time you load in from a game over, bosses will have less health. Those are not able to be used, that's not able to be used in a single segment run like the one I'm doing right now, because it would just lose so much time to constantly die that it wouldn't be worth doing. But it's just a very silly little thing between single segment and segmented runs of this game. And coming up, we're going to have our second friend train section, which is one of those auto-scroller sections where I'm on a train and I have to just kind of jump at the right time. So more donations right here are perfect.
All right, sounds good. We have a $500 donation from Failboat, who says, only just became aware of CRDQ and glad the first run I'll be watching is a Kirby run. Thanks to the GDQ staff for putting this on. Stay safe, everyone. Booyah! $15 from Noisebird, who says, longtime GDQ fan here, had to donate during Kirby, snuggled up with my favorite star ally and enjoying this amazing run. A huge thanks to everyone putting this together and to all other folks on the front lines helping to fight against COVID-19. Good luck and booyah! Thank you.
You have even more. This is a pretty long section.
All right, sounds good. We have $25 from Sam, who says, been watching for years, finally going to make a donation for this important cause. My daughter's excited to watch Kirby Star Allies with me today. She loves the game and it's her first time watching a speedrun. Let's knock out COVID-19.
Alright, so I'm coming up on the end of this section. I'm gonna do one quick thing to make the ending a little quicker, which is the game's gonna want me to run along this wall and bonk on the ceiling. I'm gonna jump on the platform the door is on so I can jump and reach the top of the wall. Just a very slight speed up at the end of that section. That's kind of the thing with the auto-scroller sections in this game, is that there's always very slight speed ups you can do. And this mode doesn't really get auto-scrollers to the extent that some others do, which is fortunate because auto-scrollers are never any fun. But they still happen. There's going to be one more in the last level of the run, so we're going to be auto-scroller free for a little bit longer. For now, we have an enemy wave. This is the enemy wave. This place looks like a pretty big boss arena. This is what I mentioned earlier about how we're not fighting the Mage Sisters because we're playing as them. If we were in any other character's mode, or the story mode, so Kirby's mode, I guess, technically, this would be where you fight Zan Partizan, who's kind of like, technically not the leader because there's a bigger character like behind the wheels of the three Mage Sisters in the story mode. But like between the three sisters, she's kind of like the biggest one of the three. She's the leader of the three, essentially. So it's a pretty big arena, and there's just like 5 enemies there, and a mini-boss that we one-shot with the super attack. So now we get to level 4, which in the story of the game, if you've ever played Kirby Superstar, the 4th world of the story mode is essentially just like Milky Way Wishes, where you have like short few-screen levels of a bunch of different like level themes that are all like themed after these tiny planets. The story mode basically does the exact thing. This game is like full of fan service. So if you're like, and nostalgia. So if you're like a big past Kirby fan, you'll get a lot of like fun from that. Unfortunately, it makes this game kind of struggle to hold up on its own, but fortunately this mode is just amazing to run. So yeah, we're gonna see a lot of switching level themes in very quick succession. Like, once I beat this boss and throw a heart at them, there's only gonna be like one more of these like tree screens before I'm going to a beach, and then I'm gonna go in a cave at the end of the checkpoint. A lot is gonna be going on. There's just kind of a lot of references in general. Like a big tower climb to get a key with evil masks chasing you. Actually, that might be the first time that's happened. Totally. As much as we all want to forget about Panto, he exists. So yeah, see, here's now that beach I mentioned. Water is not very annoying in this game because you can press A to boost your swim speed and still have full control of your movement, which some Kirby games do not. I'd like to give a shout out to the team of people last month who ran the 2020 Kirby Series Relay. I had to run Kirby Squeak Squad for that, and if there's one thing I missed from this game after playing Squeak Squad to practice with that relay, it's the water controls, because the swimming in this game is actually really good. It's still swimming though, so fortunately we don't have to swim for too long, and we are at the next checkpoint after we beat this boss. Han and Con are back as Goldon and Silvox. Basically upgraded versions of the fight that don't have more health. They might have more health, they still die in one hit though. So I just have to wait through this phase transition one more time. They're gonna try and do a sneaky on us and make this big structure that it's so that it's harder for me to, like, you know, deal that final hit like I did with the laser in the first phase. However, their pattern, their first move they do is always the same. They always will go on the 2nd and 4th platform. So if I just laser on the 3rd platform, the hitbox will always be big enough to hit and kill them, no matter like where I'm facing. And that leads us to the 2nd half of the 4th level, which, as I mentioned, starts off with a cave. And there's going to be an ice level later. It's going to be all sorts of cool. All my friends are going to die. I don't really care if my friends die here. because they're only going to be slow later. They're not really going to be fast now. So, if a friend dies and then goes off screen before I enter the door, they're not coming back. So as you can see, I only lost one friend, even though 2 died. And I messed up this room a lot. I died! That's, I'm not a friend, apparently. Because I died and it mattered. Oh, I forgot about this. When you die, you get set back to Francisca in the tag team cycle. So I have to press that button twice, which I was already doing bad enough in this room. It doesn't help that I had to do that because this is actually a cycle-based room. This ending is cycling the whole time, and I want to get into a specific... I want to have them at a specific point, because you saw I got an all upgrade there, and then I had to go in the door, and they're on the opposite sides of each other. So I was able to find them quickly and get them both quickly, but like, there's usually a way to do that room so that the cycle is consistent, that I was not able to do either time there. But it's fine. This ice section is fairly short, and now we're in this area here. This area can be tricky because there's a lot of big enemies that don't die instantly. Your electric zip attack can do slight electric damage to enemies, and like elements in this game, like electric attacks or fire attacks or ice attacks, which are all the abilities we have here, have like special damage animations. And so the electric dodge that I've been doing does actually do a good deal of enemy damage, which is pretty cool. However, a lot of big enemies, and especially a lot of enemies with elemental shields, there are notable enemies that wield fire and ice shields that you need the other element sister to get rid of, without like hitting them a bunch to break the shield, which you can't really do when you're just electric zipping quickly. Means that my electric zips can get interrupted a lot, which is not good. And I'm talking about stuff that happened a while ago, but I'm really just fighting enemies right now, so not much else to say. We're gonna reach a boss fight pretty soon, though, so maybe one quick donation or so before I get there.
All right, that sounds good. Evie RPG donates $100 saying, "Hey all, first time donor here. Though I've always been a huge fan of the work you all are doing. I'm fortunate enough to be deemed essential, but that means I'm glad to give to others in this trying time. And hey, what better time to donate than during a Kirby segment? Yes, that little puffball is the embodiment of merciless destruction that we need in our lives right now. Keep up the amazing work." And we have $10 from Vampires Against Viruses that said, "Sending some of Francisca's power ahead to the OOT runners."
All right. Now, this Krakow is special because it's 2 Krakows, and it's dead. Yeah, that's what they do in this game to make difficulty, is they decide to divide Krakow in 2, except when it dies, they bring it back into 1 Krakow. So this is parallel big Krakow. And it's still gonna be easy. And that is the end of level 4. Yeah, level 4. So now we just have one more level 5. Level 5 is by far the longest. It's the home stretch of the story mode where we're basically in the base of the villain, and we're trying to stop them from ruining Popstar, because a lot of villains like doing that. So this level is very tricky, very tight. I need to make sure that I don't do too much. I'm not getting any health upgrades at all in this section, which I don't know if you've noticed, but by every time we reach a new level, the upgrades reset to 0. So all the attack and speed and health upgrades that I had for Krakow are now gone. Even though there is an attack upgrade right here I can get. And I will be getting other attack and speed upgrades. But it does kind of create a risk because there's only like 1 healing item in general in the very last part of the level. So once you make it to the last checkpoint, you can barely take any damage if you want to have a good enough out for the final boss. And the final boss can just kind of destroy you if he wants to. We'll get there. But for now, I am just going to keep moving. We have a pretty short enemy arena. For some reason, this enemy arena is just like a lot of tiny segments. So it's not going to take too much time, and I'm going to be back to a mini-boss and the end of the checkpoint before you know what's going on. Okay, that was not even my intended strat, but that kind of worked. Falling down the ladder like that. So I'm going to do another sister circle here. There's going to be one more of those little transformation sequences where I need 4 friends on me in the second part of level 5, so I'm going to take both of these bonkers with me. I'm going to get both of these upgrades, and that's going to be the first checkpoint of this level. This immediate part in the second part of level 5 is kind of annoying, because if the AI works with you, you can get these AI bonkers to destroy some enemies. However, they don't like working, like, to their full potential. This yellow guy, yeah, see, like, that yellow guy, I was about to compliment because he took out that enemy in the top left, but then he just jumped over the enemy in the bottom left just to get to me. So, AI not at its best, but it was trying. Which is better than some of the AI does. This room will have a Sir Kibble right at the beginning that I'm going to take, so now I have a full group of 4, and hopefully nobody will die in this room. I actually have had somebody die in this room before. It was very funny. Everyone's health looked pretty good there, so I wasn't expecting it, but, like, you know, it has happened before. And now we're going to have our last of the 3 transformations. The friend wheel, or the friend circle, it's just like the train, except we can't speed it up by jumping up slopes because there will be no slopes to jump up. This is probably the last good point for donations.
All right, we have $25 from Avriel, who says, I've watched Laurie run KSA a few times and it still blows my mind. Booyah! Thank you very much for your donation. And...
So you have more time.
One more time?
Yeah, I died.
All right, sounds good. We have $250 from VLS1112. It says, I get to donate to help people and torture Spike and Fant. Sign me up. And remember, folks, we are still, quick update for the Ice Trap Mayhem incentive for Ocarina of Time, or OT, or Zoot, or however you all want to call it. $2,153 out of $5,000. Thank you all so much for the hard work towards that incentive. Let's keep it going, and we'll be there in no time. Back to you, Laurie.
Alright, so this last part I'm on, I died in the circle part, so I needed to switch back to Zan from Francisca, so it took a little bit to show it off. But this part that I'm in actually, you may think that the platform determines stuff, but no, it's actually position-based when these enemy waves here start. So, whenever I finish an enemy wave and the wall to the right of me opens, I'm actually just going to be dashing to the right to start the enemy wave just a little bit faster than I would be if I were just to stay on the platform and wait for the left wall to close to make these little arenas that we're in. There's going to be 3 of these arenas here. I just finished the second of the 2, and then I'm going to be in the very last part of the run, the last checkpoint of level 5. Just need to deal with some elemental shield enemies first, which I'm using Lambert and Francisca to deal with. And there we go. There's a little bug in my leg. So that's the last checkpoint that we're going to see. The next kind of level ending is going to be the end of the run. So this last part of the level is where it's going to get pretty difficult. It's going to be trying to take a specific way through that first room there, because there's a lot of things on fire in that room, and then this room is just full of cycles. There's one cycle in particular here where there's going to be a moving lava block coming up that I'm going to try and get into a little pouch here. Got it, just before the lava blocks it off. That saves a bunch of time, because if you don't get that, you have to wait for the lava block to move to the left so you can get to the middle path, then wait for it to move back to the right. So you actually save like 2 lava block movements by doing that cycle that I made where you get in the middle pouch immediately. I get rid of all my friends now. I won't need them for the rest of the run, and they're just going to really get in my way in the last set of enemy arenas before the boss. And speaking of the last set of enemy arenas before the boss, I'm now on like the last 3 screens of the run, and both of those screens have enemy arenas that I need to take out as fast as I can in order to get to the last boss. So it's a very stressful part of the run because all of these enemy arenas are accompanied by these moving blocks, which in some cases it means that you have to deal with enemies in certain ways quick enough, otherwise your cycle will get messed up and the arena will just be annoying. And in some ways it's annoying because that means that these moving blocks can crush you and you will die and get sent back to the beginning of the room and you'll have to do all of the enemy arenas over. This upcoming thing I'm going to do is a really big death point. So I have a somewhat consistent setup. This diamond right here that I'm under, I'm going to do 3 chain dashes and try and get into that door before the 4 diagonal moving blocks get in and crush me. As you saw there, it looked pretty scary, and that is one of my biggest run killers. Then in this room, I'm going to use the laser to try and hit these guys while the blocks are moving from bottom left to top right, and I am stuck under the platform. So that way, I don't have to like wait for the blocks to move, and I can just move on to the next part here. Oh, that's not what I want to do. I messed up this part quite a bit, so my moving block cycles are quite unusual at the moment, and I'm trying my best to deal with them, but they are being... Okay, that should be good. Now I just have to hope I don't get crushed here, because I have no idea what this cycle is going to be like. Okay, I'm good. And now I have to wait for these blocks, and okay, I have a pretty good amount of health going into the final boss here, so I don't think I'm going to be dying. I probably just jinxed that, but who cares? So this last fight here is Morpho Knight EX. Morpho Knight is Galactonite, who is usually the strongest warrior character in the series, combined with the power of this mystery butterfly creature, and is insanely powerful. They fight exactly like Meta Knight, except with some extra flashy and like quick damaging attacks. The main part of fighting like Meta Knight, though, means that they can just block an attack at any moment. That's the more annoying part. But once we get to this phase, and time's going to end up when I kill this boss, once we get to this phase, they're going to summon these giant swords, which do a lot of damage, but it's going to make Morpho Knight a sitting duck. So I can just tear into him during this. And I poked a hitbox and died. That's just how bad the first phase was. I said I wasn't gonna die, and then the first phase was like, hey, what if I keep blocking and doing a bunch of, like, dumb attacks? It's another run killer. Again, this game can be tricky to run because, like, the last couple screens are such big run killers that it's hard to get motivation sometimes when you lose runs there. Especially because then you have to play the game for another, like, half hour. And that can be annoying, because with the movement, you know, getting another run on pace when your movement is that kind of sporadic is interesting. But we're back on phase 2 now with a lot more health than previously, and hopefully I can do the fight faster. Yep, there we go, time. And so we're going to see a quick cutscene. He is going to fade into the sunlight and explode, because that's what you do. It's just fun. And we're gonna get a results screen. I died twice, so it's probably not gonna be very good, if I had to take a guess. Yeah, 2330 with 2 deaths is actually pretty good, yeah. You can see my PB right below it is 2240, so being less than a minute off of that with 2 deaths is definitely something I'll take. It was a pretty good run, other than the deaths, really. You can see my level segments here. The last 2 levels with the deaths in them kind of dragged my time up a lot compared to my golds, but yeah, that's Kirby Star Allies. I don't really have too much else to say other than shoutouts to all the people that have ran and made strats for this category, because there are like a few small people that are really dedicated to like the more modern Kirby games. Their kind of like longer structure makes them harder to run compared to some older Kirby games, but like there's still a community of people that actively do it, and shoutouts to all of them because it's a great group of people. Other than that though, I don't have much else to say, so thank you.
right, Laurie, thank you very much for that run of Kirby Star Allies. Can I get some more GGs in the chat for Laurie? That was amazing. The commentary was good. The gameplay was good. Thank you very much again for that. So coming up next now, you wanted it. You donated for it. We have TJH with Celeste coming up. But first, a few donations. We have $10 from Caden532 who says, here's my part to help add to Spike's fun. Yeah, fun is what I meant. Thank you very much for that donation, and a quick update on that because a lot of people are probably wanting to know what's going on. Ice Trap Mayhem is currently $2,153 out of $5,000. We have $10 from Princess Neku Cakes who says, looking forward to the Zelda run. Here's $10 to the Ice Trap Mayhem incentive. Big shout out to all the workers risking their health to care for the well-being of others. We will get through this pandemic. We have $30 from Hellegrand who says, hello GDQ, long-time watcher, first-time donator, finally breaking the non-donation streak after the unfortunate passing of Rick May due to COVID-19, and was the voice of Team Fortress 2 Soldier, my main class in the almost 3,000 hours I've played over the years. You were good, really good. Maybe even the best. That aside, looking forward to the Star Allies run. Francisca is the best mage sister, so put this towards Ice Trap Mayhem. All right, folks, we're going to take a real quick break. We'll be right back. Folks, welcome back to Corona Relief Done Quick. Up next we'll be having TGH I cannot speak tonight. TGH is running Celeste. Thank you so much again. So, few donations quick before the run. We have $300 from Anonymous. Thank you very much for your donation. We have $50 from Vampires Against Viruses that says, hey Link, freeze. We have $50 from Anonymous, who says, climb the mountain. We have $100 from Bergsel, who says, love GDQ and hyped to cause pain for the Spike band for our entertainment. And speaking of pain, TGH, when are we getting more Sonic Adventure 2 Hero Story runs? I don't know how long it's been since TGH ran that. I'd like to know. Maybe I'll ask him at some point. I have $1,000 from Chopaway Greg, who says, hey y'all, keep up the good work making the world a better place. Put my donation to naming the Ocarina of Time file name to Old John because, John is old. This is the third time today during his birthday where John got kind of put out there for being old, and I feel so bad about that. Thank you very much for your donation, Greg. We appreciate that. We have $100 from Kyle B, who says, put speedrunning in the Olympics, keep it up. We have $20 from David, who says, no comment is my comment. All right, it's cool. We have $15 from Super Crash Bug, who says, hey everyone, Super Crash Bug here. It is so awesome to see everyone in the speedrun community come together so quickly to help fight COVID-19. We are all in this together, and each one of us just giving a little bit can help, donating what I can to help crush this bug. Stay safe, everyone. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and social distance. Stay home, watch CRDQ, and save lives. We have a $10 donation from Wizard3103 that says Celeste is a game really close to my heart since it got me through some difficult times, so there's probably no better time to donate for me. I know this isn't much, but I contribute what I can for a great cause. Good luck to the runner.